Time.
Being able to represent yourself as who you are helps others to speak for themselves.
I'll say, as I know right now, the Star Trek and Marvel universe are connected, but there is the multiverse, so you never know.
Who's her? You know her. Don't pretend you don't.
I know her. I've known her my whole life, literally. So,
are you going to toss it off to me again?
I mean, no. I'm tossing it to Janora. Janora is going to have to introduce herself.
Ladies' Day.
Yes.
Wait.
I don't think there's a video game that simulates what it's like to have a family.
Definitely simulation game.
Are you kidding? I get left burned on fire. My mom leaves the stove on. That ain't a family. My house burns down half the time.
That's exactly what that's supposed to be.
Hello.
All right.
Hey. How's everybody doing today?
Pretty good. What about yourself?
Hanging in there. As y'all can tell, I was supposed to have gotten a haircut ages ago, but it will be tomorrow since I was hoping to get that days ago and weeks ago, but schedule, cash, everything else got in the way, but I have negotiated, and me and Mr. Boyd will see each other tomorrow afternoon. So I'm sick and tired of looking like...
You keeping the beard?
Trimmed down. I mean, it'll still be a beard, but it'll be much trimmer, and it'll be more of the black and white that I like when it's a lot trimmer down. So, like I said, the beard will still be there, but it will be less like what did a friend of mine say? Less Grizzly Adams and Caramel Santa Claus. So it'll be more stylish and everything along those lines. But I do know that Barbara H. Smith, when I produced her show, she was like, "You're having that very much Grizzly Adams look," and I was like, "Not the look I want." So definitely trying to get away from that. It'll be closer to what you've got going on. Definitely over there in the sense of what John has got going on, more stylish and everything. So maybe even a little bit thinner than that, but definitely not as thick as it is now with this whole grizzly thing. Hey, Jacoby, question for you.
What you got a question?
Question for you. Isn't and this is actually for both of y'all, but isn't Insomniac based here in North Carolina?
Yep. Insomniac is actually based in Durham.
That's what I thought.
They got purchased by Sony.
And that's what I was seeing was that apparently, there's a certain cartoon group that has not had the best luck in video games, but apparently they're going to try to do better, and Insomniac is behind it. So they're saying that they have come out with Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine as two of the titles that they have got coming out in the near future. And apparently they haven't had much luck with Marvel-based games because and they've also got Guardians of the Galaxy and Midnight Suns. But what is it with Marvel and video games? Because apparently they don't really have good luck.
Really, Insomniac Games did a great job with Spider-Man. They've done a great job with Spider-Man and Spider-Man 1 and then Spider-Man Miles Morales. So that's how Insomniac Games got the Marvel contract. Well, the Spider-Man contract, because Spider-Man being a part of Marvel is owned by Sony also. Okay. So that's another reason why Spider-Man is focused with Insomniac, because Sony owns Insomniac. And it was a different company that did the Marvel, the other Marvel game, the other Marvel games.
Right.
But Insomniac does a great job with Spider-Man.
And one of the cool things about the Wolverine movie is they're going to go with they're trying to keep it a little bit more mature content too. So that's kind of exciting.
Ooh. Yep. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm curious who they're going to have for the new Marvel movie, for the new Wolverine. Because he's got some big shoes to fill.
At least in voice casting it, you know. Who's the voice cast going to be?
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting.
Is there a reason that Marvel historically has not done that well with their video game characters versus some of the other?
It's because they never honestly, I think the last time I enjoyed a Marvel video game, to be honest, was like Marvel versus Alliance on the Xbox 360.
Okay.
And that's the last time they made it, because they made a good, fun co-op experience where you get to take use of people's powers, and there was a halfway decent story. And, you know, it had like a Diablo over-the-top look down, and but it's just like they failed with Marvel's Avengers, the video game. It's just like they had everything there, but they didn't do what's the one most important things, and that's give an end game, give a reason for players to grind, and because that's all any games are about nowadays. You got to have longevity. If you don't, cool, you made a cool game.
But the thing is, it's not just Marvel. Like DC's all their Superman games sucked, and all the other games, even the Batman games sucked until Arkham Asylum came along.
Right.
That hit, and that was the bomb. I mean, the whole Batman stuff, the Batman Arkham Asylum stuff has been great, and they're actually doing the next Arkham Asylum has Robin in it. Robin or Nightwing.
Nightwing.
You're supposed to play him as the main character, and Batgirl, I think, is the other one that's in there.
But they just got to find their hit. They just haven't had one, but they still have a huge funding. I mean, Marvel's connected to Disney, so it don't matter. They'll throw games out left and right. But, I mean, they're going to join the video game market because we've talked about it before. It's extremely lucrative.
Oh, very lucrative.
And Marvel and powers and superheroes will always sell.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't perform well, it's still going to sell a lot because kids are going to be like, ooh, I want to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
another article that I was finding interesting is apparently your controllers are going to start talking to you, and apparently this is a new trend and everything, because they were saying that this is a new trend with what's going on in controllers. But they give an example. They say astronaut Selene Vassos crashes her shuttle onto the mossy planet Atropos, and the player's controller rumbles. It's raining on Atropos, so the controller emits a hiss too. Selene recovers her footing on the wet ground and draws her sidearm. The controller's right trigger clicks. Selene abandons the wreckage and ventures downward into Atropolis, unloading her clip into monster hordes as they pass by, scavenging magical artifacts and better guns. Each motion in the game mapped to a distinct sensation.
Trying to share my screen.
So it sounds like that whatever is going on in the game is also happening with you on the controller in terms of feedback and everything. Because they're calling it haptic feedback. They're saying it's a trend in modern hardware designed to simulate the user's sense of touch with a more specific stylized vibration. So do you have one of these fancy controllers, either you, John, or Chitofi?
No, I keep it pretty simple. I don't like all that stuff.
So all of that, honestly, has been in video games for a very long time with the haptic controllers and the vibrations and so on and so forth. That's all been in video games for a while. I mean, with the PlayStation taking a big jump, because with the PlayStation 4 is when they started making the hiss and the sound and everything else. And then even now, what they're doing is with the haptic controls is if you've got a bow and the bow is hard to string, you're shooting that string. Yeah, it's tough. Oh, you going with the one? You're not going to do the max?
Yeah, because it apparently says that the haptic feedback in Returnal, which I guess is a game changer, because they're saying that it adds a fourth dimension to Atropos, often defined by so much more than sight, sound, and a story. So some gentleman or somebody named Loden says, very early in the development of Returnal, we always knew we were going to be a PS5 game. He describes the earliest development for the advanced haptics in the game as a radical departure from development for the DualShock, the line of controllers from the first 4 generations of PlayStation, not to be confused with the PS5's DualSense. It just wouldn't work on the PlayStation 4 load and says, we really used all the additional processing. We created the sound waves to give you the feeling of rain bouncing off the controller. So I'm going like, yeah, I really want it to rain if I'm playing a game and it's sunny outside. I'm not sure if I want rain in the inside of the house, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
Hell yeah.
They're actually saying there's at least one person saying their main goal is to make the controller disappear. Maybe games without
Hell
controller.
no, there's no way it'll disappear.
Actually,
I like
there
being
is.
able to hold something in my hands and control what I'm doing. That's just me.
The crazy thing is with the Oculus, for example, the Oculus has it to where you can use your hands as the controllers. So you have nothing in your hands, and with the VR stuff, you're moving around, and that's the whole hand stuff as the control.
You want to read this, Mark? Go ahead.
Hold on a second. Let me go back to what people are saying over there. Oh, that's very small print. So y'all gonna have to blow that up some kind of way because I cannot read that whatsoever.
That's as big as it can get.
It's just Odin. He made basically the premise of the game is there's an 8th realm or whatever it is. No, a 10th realm, and we're in it. It's called Valheim,
Okay.
And we're essentially just trying to defeat the bosses that he set up for us to be able to escape it. Essentially.
Ooh.
But here's the beginning of the game. Fly in on that's the raven that Odin. You know, they always say he has a raven.
Oh, what's the server name?
No, it's just join server, community server.
Join the community server.
Yeah, here I'll invite you. I should be able to. Are we not friends? You're not on Steam.
So you said that you actually like the controller? Or there's apparently some.
Yeah, I love the controller. I don't see you on here. Look, you can see my screen.
But John, there's this guy on the leg to hear what you think about it. But he's talking about VR because it says Harafin Thorosen, I'm guessing he's probably Swedish or something like that, chief executive of virtual reality developer Alden Dynamics, recognizes the potential for sensory overload in advanced haptics. Thorosen strives towards a full body immersion that has tempted but eluded video game developers for decades. He often described VR as an emotional megaphone. For a huge range of people, it's just too scary, and so they start training themselves to say, I'm not really here. And that's counter to what VR is trying to do. He sees the challenge for haptics too, the urge to grab the player by the collar and uncomfortably shake them awake. So apparently he's saying that there's some good and some bad parts about this, but I'm just going like, do you really be that into the game? Because I remember there was a book that I read a long time ago. It was literally the people going, they got so wrapped up in the computers that they literally were almost transported into the computer game.
What's the friend code?
What do you mean, what friend code?
Yeah, that's what it's saying, because it doesn't look like we're friends on the. It doesn't show you on the friends list.
We should add each other. Give me my friend code. There's my friend code right there.
All right, there we go. 102-819-445. There we go.
So, Sylvia, are you ready for the mouse and the keyboard to disappear? Apparently, John's not, but there's a couple of these experts that are imagining that eventually they're going to disappear, and you can just kind of like control the game, I guess, by your brain.
Well, like I said, that's what a lot of people are. Well, that's what some of these other companies are doing, which is crazy. All the stuff with the VR stuff.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people want to control that controller like John does. They want to sit there and actually have that control and everything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm right. Oh, what's the password?
Password.
Capital?
No, just password.
Cool.
There we go. Oh, I think it's tab. Stone. Right, tunic. Dude, oh, I hate this thing. I know how to play.
Oh, yeah, the bird.
The old bull. There he is. All right. What a beast.
Hey, Jacoby. There's a game that has apparently it was a PlayStation showcase. There's a game that recently came out that apparently got black hair right.
Got black hair right.
Like like it actually is showing the hair of an African American woman the way that it would actually be in real life. But there's a game called God of War Ragnarok, and they said
God of
that
War is a great franchise.
Great. God of War Ragnarok.
They just said at the PlayStation Showcase, I guess earlier this week, that they ended with one of the most impressive examples of black hair in the video games. As over the past 2 decades, black women wearing their hair the way that it naturally comes out of their head has gone from a rare occurrence to the way that some of the most famous African American women style their locks. In that time, video games have struggled to accurately represent black hair of any kind, let alone the huge variance of styles that African American women wear. And so, as this humorous viral tweet demonstrations, so often African Americans who play games have to make do with a dated Caesar fade, cornrows, a perfectly circular afro, or baldness. But there's a character named Angropada, who is a new character in God of War Ragnarok, and apparently that's some exciting news because after years of the game, but didn't quite capture the reality of black hair. Here's an example of a character model whose locks look right. So she's actually wearing locks, and apparently it was a Congolese developer born in France who works as a 3D environment artist at development studio Rocksteady Games and maintains a blog of authentic looking black hairs in games named Jersey Diana, and she told Waypoint that the things that make black hair look good are in the details. If your game is supposed to be realistic and the dreads are looking like perfect plastic tubes, you made a mistake. Wearers of dreads will know that each lock is different. You can even have a favorite one. The way they are made for Angropada feels like each of them has their own personality. One is pointed up at the end and another one down. It's easy to describe a bad example of black hair in games. Bad black video game hair doesn't have motion, and each curl looks and moves like pipe cleaners.
Yeah,
What do you think about representation of hair types in video games?
Representation matters in every way possible. Take for instance,
authenticity.
I mean, yeah. If I can see myself in that character, I want to be. I'll get a better relationship with whatever I'm playing based on, what their representation of me is.
Right.
So yeah, representation matters.
I'm actually looking at the picture, and the locks actually look quite natural. I should pull it up, and people can see the picture of what this character looks like. So, I don't know if we can pull up everything at the same time. I'm going to try an experiment.
Trying to figure out where you ran off to, John.
Hit M and just turn off visible to other players.
I forgot that you could do that.
Yeah. But I'm making a place right here. I already got a workbench.
Okay.
I'll play no games.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the representation.
Yeah, like I said, it definitely is a. There we go. I mean, it's an important thing in games.
Yeah,
hands down.
What's that going off on the? Is that just a big? It's like y'all got an ocean thing going, but I saw something that was like big off on the sides. Is that like a big tree or something? Way off there to the right.
Oh, that's part of the world tree.
Yep. The world tree?
Yeah. The branches of the world tree spread throughout the 9 realms. And we're on the end, the very tip, called the 10th realm. Yeah. So that's the world tree, which you actually go to the base to if you take a boat to it.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
And it's called the world tree?
Mm-hmm. Have you know anything about, oh my gosh, Norse mythology?
I know a little bit about it.
So that's where it's from. Thor and all that, Odin.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All that kind of stuff.
There we go. I can craft. Oh, there's the bird again. I hate the bird.
You hate the bird.
The bird's the word.
Bird tells you everything what you're supposed to be doing. I'm just over here harvesting, trying to jump, build up some of my experience. So yeah, Mark, this is
That's a baby.
yep. So you can actually see, Mark, where John is and where I am.
Yep. See that?
So we're at two different positions on the map, really right close next to each other, really. Go kill this boar. Oh, Lord.
Should hop on this. Get in here, Mark. It's $20.
Might have to get on that.
I mean, it's actually pretty addictive, Mark. You like it.
I believe it, and I can't get addicted to some of these things, so definitely. Oh, Drats, not that again.
What?
They're talking about that some people that are doing buying of retro games are feeling that the game industry is colluding to pump up the prices and get them out of the industry. There was an actual article where this guy was saying that he used to enjoy collecting and he was instantly obsessed, and now he lives in the UK as a 26-year-old, but he's also feeling that he can't buy like he used to buy because the prices have been put up and everything. So they were saying that a combination of institutional investors and official companies offering grading services, essentially rating the condition of the games and therefore the prices they're likely to go for at the market, have pushed up the prices. So in July, a near mint copy of Super Mario 64 sold at an auction for $1.5 million, making it the most expensive video game in history. It doubled the price of the most expensive video game ever, a copy of The Legend of Zelda, which sold just 2 days prior. And that's before you even buy the hardware to play the retro games, should you choose to, which is also increasing in prices. So there are some people that are thinking that this massive surge in prices is fishy. So in August, Australian YouTuber Carl Jobs produced a 52-minute video alleging that auction house Heritage Auctions and video game grading company Wada Games have colluded to pump up the prices of video games. So he's claiming that they have overgraded the games in order to inflate his income, and it takes a cut of the sales, and that Wada and Heritage work and is doing it symbiotically. So he's feeling that there's a conspiracy going on here.
Oh yeah, the prices in games. I think they're going to eventually always be raising, man. Shoot, they'll never stop raising. They're going to eventually have to go up. They've been 60 for a while.
Yep,
it's going to happen. Everything's
hey, John, you're over there building a nice place.
I'm sure that Jacoby has $1.2 billion just laying in his pocket down there in the heats and
he does.
underneath the mattress, so he can go afford these games.
If you look down at Mark's socks, he's got rolls of $50 bills. Let's go.
Hey, that just came from his leopard print that he wears every once in a while.
I know you got all the money, John. I've heard.
You're right, bro. Every once in a while, I go out and I earn it. Wink, wink.
Well, I was actually going to ask your wife when she gets, because I understand that she put you out on the streets every once in a while just to make that extra money. So I know that she's got you. She's actually in charge of everything, including your services.
Yeah. You are 100% correct. I already know y'all are going to interrogate her once she gets here.
She's like, nope, I got to go ahead and put them out there on the streets.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, let me finish this house so we got a place to live. If I left it up to Jacoby, we'd be homeless.
I mean, I'd put up something a little small.
Dude, I build epic things, bro. You have no idea what we've done on some of the other servers. Crazy. Hail, warrior. Hail. No, I don't want to
that's nice. I like that. How they changed the view of the actual hit points for
got my little house, bro.
Look at there. Look at there.
There it is. There it is. Oh, it's so awesome, guys. Get wrecked. Want to dance?
Did you put in a You put in the fire?
I don't have a campfire yet. I gotta go get some stones.
Hey, Toby and
Okay.
John, are y'all worried at all about this new thing that the Anti-Defamation League just recently came out with?
Oh God, what now?
A new report from the Anti-Defamation League has found that most U.S. teens experience harassment when playing video games online. The study said that 60% of children, 13 to 17-year-olds, experience harassment when playing games online, and it doesn't seem to be catching on with parents. Less than 40% of parents or guardians said they implemented safety controls for online games, and less than 50% of teen gamers said they talked to their parents about their online games. Overall, gamer experienced massive harassment online. The survey found 71% of adults from 18 to 45 years old experienced severe abuse, including physical threats, stalking, and sustained harassment within the first 6 months of 2021. So they're saying this new
it's bad.
research.
We had people at home
yeah.
more because of COVID.
Yeah, it says this new research examining the experience of young online gamers sheds important lights on their specific experiences and unfortunately reveals a deeply disturbing trend. Teenage gamers are harassed almost as often as adult gamers, according to Jonathan A. Greenblatt, CEO of the Anti-Defamation League. And by allowing this harassment of young people to continue, we risk children feeling that they should be ashamed of who they are. Your message is completely unacceptable, and online gaming platforms have a responsibility to do better. That's what he said.
Why do you think this is here, Mark? This is what this whole thing is about.
Well, to be fair,
I mean, it's a real thing that happens online.
well, these kids nowadays are so obsessed with playing with other people. Like kids, I even talk to my son about playing a game, like a single player experience, and his mind doesn't even comprehend it. Like all he wants to do is he plays through a game. He wants to have his mic on. He wants to talk to other kids, and like I'm just like that. I try to explain to him there's some fucking assholes out there, and like it's just. I mean, it's shitty, but you're not going to stop it. And if parents are continuing to still happening to their kids, well, then that kid needs to stop playing the goddamn game. That's just my fucking opinion.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And by the way, it says
Right?
according to the
Parents are
survey,
just lazy.
and that's why they even bring that up as well. According to the
Lazy
survey,
parents.
it says according to the survey, about 10% of young gamers and 8% of adult gamers said they were exposed to white supremacist comments when playing online, and some video game companies have worked to curb abuse. For example, Phil Spencer, the chief of Microsoft's Xbox division, announced an initiative with Microsoft that will look to solve online bullying and abuse by taking a stance against abusers, according to the Deseret News. It says no one group owns gaming. Instead, whether you're new to gaming or a diehard sports fan, you are welcome to play and welcome to all the fun and skill building that comes with gaming. In this way, when everyone can play, the entire world wins, Spencer wrote in a blog post back in 2019.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I don't like bullies, but
They're out there.
they'll never stop. I mean, it's like saying, true peace. There's never will be true peace. There's always people who are going to want to see the world burn.
Oh, you didn't hear about Jatopi?
Oh, by the way, you see Bill has jumped on. You hadn't seen Bill in a while, Mark.
We have not seen Bill in a while, but you didn't hear about Jatopi?
Oh, Lord. Me and my Kung Fu?
No.
We can stop and say hi.
The fact that when you did the that beauty pageant that you were part of, that you actually begged for and asked for world peace. I remember there was that beauty pageant here in North Carolina that you were part of, and you asked for world peace, but I thought John knew about this.
Beauty pageant? What beauty pageant?
The beauty pageant that you were part of. The male beauty
hang on, Mark. The beauty pageant every day when Jatopi looks in the mirror and says, "I am beautiful."
Yeah, that one. You got it. You got it. Hey, Bill, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. And actually, let me just say, I'm thankful that Jatopi invited me. You and I have been going back and forth, and I apologize for my get-up. I came from another show that we were talking about, the future of media and entertainment. And I went to Jatopi as my subject matter expert, and he really lit me up on some things about some informative things. Just, how gamers look at things currently really is what other people are defining as the future of media and entertainment. Now, so that's why I'm here, and I'm here to say hello. And Mark, I like to see you, and Toby, it's always a pleasure. But I did want to. I picked up on the tail end of the thing about bullying,
Right.
multiplayer platforms. And one thing that Toby, this is credit to Toby, turned me on to Black Mirror, which is a television series, and some of it's really disturbing. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, but it did have one episode, well, a number of episodes about how they used online bullying to get.
May I ask what show?
Is that your show?
No, may I ask what show?
Okay, well, first of all, there was the pilot show, 70 season 1, episode 1 of Black Mirror.
Oh, okay, yeah, that show's mind warping.
Yeah, it really is.
It's really good. By the way, I'm John Maxwell. Nice to meet you.
Hey, John, Bill. And then there was another show that I just caught up with, and it was particularly disturbing, and it was season 3, I think it's episode 3. I don't know if it's a playlist, where essentially, it's some rough stuff, and it's essentially online bullying and how it's the darker side of what happens with multiplayer platforms, including bullying and a bunch of other stuff. So, Jacoby, thank you.
Hey,
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Bill, just a quick question.
Because Mark, real quick, how we came to how Bill and I came to that discussion, and how I introduced Bill to Black Mirror. He had a great topic, and John, I think you would enjoy jumping in on this topic too. Bill, I'll let you tell what the topic is that you brought in.
Yeah, they were okay. Well, I can. The thing was the future of media and entertainment as we move to, like AR, VR, and stuff like that. And then I was turned on by a TED Talk from Emmett Shear, who's the founder of Twitch. And he was essentially saying that, listen, in his thing, he calls them campfires, but they're essentially communities. Right. People are self-selected. So when you have a multiplayer platform and people are engaging, everybody goes there, but it's not just for the game, but it's for the larger community. And so those communities are engaging people. And so he was arguing that, listen, that really is going to be the future of how entertainment works. You're going to have multiplayer, self-selected virtual rooms and or interactions as you move forward. And so essentially at the end of his thing, he said that if you want to understand what the future of media and entertainment is, he argued for there's an eventual harmonization. Because right now you got silos, you got people over running theaters, and you got people over doing stuff with digital twins out in the real world, layering virtual reality onto the real world. Eventually, he argued that there's going to be a harmonization in this community. He called them campfires, where people get around because it's a multi-person actual interaction. And he said at the end, if you want to know what the future is going to look like, go talk to a gamer today, because gamers have always been at the forefront by about 10, 15 years about where things are going, and that cuts across the board in terms of interfacing. So when you start talking about human interface and AI interface, interactions of virtual reality, when people have the Oculuses on and they're walking through, or when you're out there in the building construction industry where people are walking through 3D models, all that stuff has already been done with gaming. And then more importantly, and this really got me, avatars. I was thinking, wow. I know I saw the movie, but I never thought about it in terms of my personal self. Like, I could have my very own avatar as I'm interacting with the stuff. And it's a step farther than kind of where gaming is right now, where you go in and you pick and choose from a menu of items. But essentially, it's a limited choice based on what they've already given you. What if I could go to somebody and they could actually design, and they're just an avatar designer, like a tattoo parlor. I go to them and I say, I want this, and they create me an avatar for me, by me, how I want it to be, and I carry that with me, and then I bring that into the game. So, Jacoby, I'm listening.
Do you have like your own personal ID avatar that you take into each and every game? That's pretty cool. All right, I get what you're saying.
I like that.
So
by the way, there's an anime that does that. If you ever watch anime, Bill, they literally write up the stuff that you're talking about. They literally do exactly that. It's called Sword Art Online.
Yep.
Wait, what's that called? Because I got to tell you, John. When
it's literally the world you're describing. They literally they describe that, like how technology takes it too far. I mean, have you ever seen a movie called Chappie where they figured out how to upload the human consciousness into a robot?
Yeah, I did see Chappie.
Because technically it's all data, right? We're all data.
Yep. Hey,
there's actually a show that just came out on Amazon, which was it came out last year. It was a show called Upload. No, Upload.
That's a good one where you you're basically afterlife as a file, basically an image.
Yeah. Basically, it's taking the subconscious.
And if you're rich, you get a better like download speed, and the poor they have like megabyte speeds, so like they only get to like come active like 3 hours of the day, and the rest of the day they're just stuck.
But apparently, this is Jatovia. Apparently, this is real life because I know that I had a guest on yesterday, Penny Shepard, and she actually says that she was engineered to some degree in terms of like how she was created as a child and everything, but she also talks about uploading and that we are actually having those capabilities now to have some of our memories and stuff uploaded and to continue our essence even beyond this life that we are in now. So you can have those going from generation to generation. And she was actually saying that that's actually a very real thing, even though some people may think of it as science fiction. And I know that Bill's involved in that world of politics. So maybe we got a robot of either the current president or the past president that are out there. And we don't know that they're out there, but they're actually out there. Bill, if I can just really quickly, since I haven't seen you in a minute, I was just curious as to what your thoughts were about, one, what happened in California, and two, the fact that you have a Buffalo of governor in New York, because I do know that the current governor is out of your home area and everything. So I'm thinking that you probably know her personally, and you may have some personal thoughts about her because she is from your home area, and you're a big Buffalo person and a big fan of that area.
Okay, well, first of all, listen, and I'll just make it real brief. What they were doing out in California, people have just been messing around, and listen, it's unfortunate, and I'm not going to blame or ascribe ill motive, but look. The Republicans out there, they're not in power. Now, it's all fair in love and war and politics. Look, they use the rules. The rules said if you get so many signatures, you can force a recall. Now, maybe their motives sucked. Maybe their motives were right, but the rules said that they could do it, so they did it. Now, that just meant that the people got to vote, and the people voted, and it is what it is. I can tell you, as part of a larger trend, many people are looking to it as a precursor to what we're likely to expect in the 2022 midterm elections. And because we are still not out of this after effect of the Trump presidency. Trump supporters would call it an afterglow, and non-Trump supporters would call it the after disaster. But either way, that fight's still going to happen, and that's right on the horizon. That's one, too. Let me tell you about Governor Hochul. She is down to earth. I do know her personally. I knew her when she was the clerk of Erie County, which is essentially the head of DMV, and delightful. And so, I'm just glad. And I got to tell you, listen, I'm just glad there's a woman in charge of New York. Now, you know what it takes for a woman to become governor of New York? I mean, that's just, you better steer clear and just be like, I got it. Gov, just call her Gov, salute, and say I'm on my way. Don't mind me, but yeah. Anyway,
they don't know anything about that in Kansas, where John's from, because John's over there in the whole.
Well, real quick, Mark, let's jump back to the VR thing because the VR thing is really cool. Because
really good
just
topic.
As Gaelic Nord is talking about how the VTubers sometimes import their stream avatars into VR chat. So there's an application. So as I said in the chat, real quick. The Oculus is leading the way in VR at this moment, especially in the consumer base because it made it so accessible and for everybody. You says
you can import your stream avatars directly into VR chat, but some don't because you apparently steal the VR body.
So VR chat for Bill and Mark for VR chat, to help you guys understand, it's basically like what we're doing now in a roundabout way. There's a very crude analogy, but it's like what we're doing now. But our images would be a 3D image, and we would be in a particular place where we would be chatting, where we wouldn't have the video that we're looking at right now. It would be a video. It would be a VR. It'd be a virtual reality version of ourselves that we've created in an area that we meet up, and we're chatting. Think
of it like a digital destination.
Exactly. That's a crude. And that is happening right now. And like I said, the Oculus, because it's so accessible and so cheap for everybody, Facebook has done I'll give it to what they did with Facebook. They've done a phenomenal job about keeping the price low, because the entry point for VR used to be at a bare minimum $600-700, because you would have to buy the PlayStation and then the PlayStation VR. Anything below that really isn't VR, because your phone would burn up. It was crap. But your base stuff was the PlayStation VR. But then the Oculus came along. They were tacked on to a PC, but then they branched off and they made their devices $399 and below. So anybody can get a decent VR setup, one that's actually a step above the PlayStation VR, but you got easy access to it. And they have so many applications built around it, like the VR chat, Rec Room. There's actually a meeting application that you can utilize that some businesses do. But then you've got, if you want to spend the big money, you can get the HoloLens from Microsoft, and that HoloLens has even a higher end setup in terms of a VR meeting, an AR meeting style that you can see. With the more expensive VR stuff and AR stuff, you're looking at what you see on Marvel movies, where you can have somebody come in a hologram and sit in a chair and all this stuff. You're already there. But what he was talking about, VR chat, it is cool.
Jacoby.
You can have a hologram sit in the room. So, I could have a hologram sit in the chair right over here and have a conversation. Now, I can do that now.
Yeah, Microsoft HoloLens. You can do that.
But and actually, I was just pulling up about Oculus.
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I was just pulling up about Oculus and everything. One of the things I was curious about is, for those that are so caught up in, Zoom, StreamYard, AirMeet, the number of other ones that are out there and everything, and I guess this is a question for both you and John, what would be the advantage of, say, an Oculus Quest 2 over what exists? Because they said that the future of meetings just became more accessible with Zoom plus Horizon workrooms forming to create this Oculus Quest 2. But I mean, you can already see the person in a Zoom meeting. So I'm trying to figure out what the advantage is of this, because it already kind of exists. Maybe you get more of a personal feel. I'm trying to figure out what the exact advantage is.
So there are a lot.
It's just cool.
Well, cool.
I mean, at this point, it's just cool. I mean, why does it improve the meeting? No, it doesn't.
The only way, because I'll disagree just a tad. The only way that it improves the meeting is everything you see on the screen right now. It would be digital in front of us, and it's more immersive than looking at a flat screen.
Oh, so sit here and doing this and doing what we're doing. Yes. Or I can do this.
Yeah, but it's more
immersive. That's immersive, bro. I'm blown.
But in all honesty, VR is a lot more immersive.
I can go to sleep and wake up in another world. That's when I'll shit myself.
No, but if you think about it, like if you do a VR,
right now VR is just fun. That's all it is.
No, if you do a VR roller coaster,
when my wife gets here,
like
she did dementia. She did VR dementia to experience what dementia is like. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, so I mean that's where the immersion comes into play, because your eyes truly do control a lot of your body and your mind. So when you're doing a VR roller coaster, for example, and it drops, your stomach drops, you're not moving at all. If you go to the meetings, if you're in a meeting and I can reach out and touch and lift up the screen that's showing the video game in the background and move it around and draw on top of it, that's more immersive than you clicking a button and saying, hey, this is what this looks like, rather than, hey, let me write on the screen. That's why, there was that physics teacher that used Half-Life Alyx to actually
you said it to teach the class. You said it last
and that is cool because you're writing on the board right in front of everybody.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, no, I had a question, Toby, and that is this: that when you talk about, and John, you too. So when you talk about this virtual meeting room and my avatar in there, actually manipulating the stuff in the room.
Yep.
Okay. Well, John, if I was in the room and you were in the room, would we both independently be able to manipulate the stuff?
I mean, it would. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because
it's all visual, right? So are you seeing what I'm seeing? You know what I mean? Like if I move something, I mean, if they connect it that way, you should be able, just like in any game where they connect through the IPs, you know, you can see what the other player is doing. I don't know if the technology is quite there yet. I mean, I can see how the VR has some really cool implications, but as of right now for meetings, you know, I don't know if it was a mass meeting, a group of people all got together. I mean, they don't sit on a table and have virtual food. You know, it's Peter Pan. You gotta believe.
So there's actually a game that just got updated called Space Pirates. Space Pirates, it's friggin' awesome. You can go to like a tennis court now, and you can have a full 20 by 20 or 30 by 30 room. I think it goes up to 30 by 30. But you can have a giant room. You can have 2 people sitting in there. The room has to be completely empty. You both have VR glasses, and you're seeing what's in VR. So you're running around the whole room, and you can literally, like, if you watch some of the YouTubes that are out, or some of the videos that are out there of it, it's phenomenal because you see these 2 people running around, never touching, ducking and doing things, but then you see what they're seeing in VR in this giant room. There are layers to it. So yeah, I mean, what you see, if we're in the same space, what you see is I see. What you see is what I see. This game, this technology, again, it's been around for a little bit. There was a
One
game called
pixel goes dead in it. They just ran into the wall.
So there's a game called Rec Room.
Yeah.
Rec Room is similar to how this giant meeting room is. So you basically create this world like Minecraft or Roblox, and you have people run around in that room. So
hey, Jacoby, apparently, I know we've talked about it on this show before, because I think that y'all get a lot of the games that y'all play off of Steam, and apparently, as of earlier yesterday or something like that, Oculus and Steam are now merging or doing some work together, because they're saying that Oculus and Steam crossplay is now possible, because they just launched a crossplay feature for the Oculus and Steam players, so you can join multiplayer matches and slash the beats together and do anything else that you want to do. But apparently they got it so that you can work together and actually work successfully together. And apparently there was a big VR event, I'm guessing by the name that it was in Italy or something like that, but that was held earlier this week, and they were given kudos to We Are Anagram, or Anagram is the name of the studio, and Floral Films, because they won the Grand Jury Prize for Best VR Work at the La Biennale, which they won for Goliath, Playing with Reality, which apparently explores the limits of reality, which we're talking about now, the stigma of mental illness, and the power of community through online gaming. So this is a game that just recently won a title as the best VR. It's called Goliath, Playing with Reality.
Yeah, you see, and Mark, that's exactly the point that I think that the rest of the world's not getting, that Jacoby and Mark and John, that all you guys are getting and all your audience gets, and that is that this multiplayer gaming is more than just the games, although those are important and exciting, but it really is a community, which allows, John, unfortunately, for bullies to show up. You know, and go ahead, John.
No, it's like online world. I mean, I've said this in other games, and like I've been in games, and some people's been, we call it toxic. They're being toxic. You know, they create a toxic environment. Bullies and online bullies is toxic. Makes people scared not to want to return to games. But like, it literally comes with the territory. Like, I've literally had people stop by the stream and just being completely dicks. And basically, all I say is like, man, it comes with the territory. If you're going to be online, you're going to play online games, you're going to have to learn to deal with assholes. If you don't, then you're just, I mean, they're going to walk all over you because people like to do it. You know, unfortunately, that's the reality of it. So, and
John, I guess, you know, I find that really interesting, and Jacoby as well, because on the one hand, these platforms that create these immersive communities, because it's really interactive, to the extent that they are being undercut by these occasional bullies. But I mean, if we could, you know, if you take out the bullies or you can minimize the bullies, I mean, it holds forth the potential for real communication. And
absolutely.
So like, and this just strikes me. You know how we all talk about maybe flash mobs, you know?
Yep.
We all get together, boom, boom, boom. Then 6 o'clock or whatever, 50,000 people show up. Okay, well, that's a community, but that's a community with a limited purpose. It's we're just going to go here and do this and accomplish that. But imagine if you, as you two have, a vibrant, interactive, talking community with a wide range of interests indicative of that community, what your community could do beyond just gaming. So you form around the common interest of maybe a particular game or this community or you like, and it's a support structure for it. But then you guys go off and do all kinds of things. I mean, that's dynamic and it cuts across borders, and that is just fascinating to me. I'm listening to Toby, John.
Well, they're thinking about that. Jacoby, guess who's making a VR game and everything? And it's actually quite interesting. But as I was doing my study and everything, I saw that there's a woman named Lucas Rosado, and they were saying that they are in the process of working with SpaceX astronauts, Inspiration 4, and St. Jude, which is that hospital and everything. And they're actually putting together a breathtaking VR experience that I'm thinking will probably be based on space travel. And that is actually going to come out later on this week. So they're actually not even doing it right now. It sounds like they're in the process of finalizing all of the details because Lucas says that a dream of mine is coming true this week. And they actually put that out there earlier this, like yesterday.
I was going to mention something similar to that, Nivix. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mark. I still want to talk on what Bill and we were talking about here. Well, one thing interesting about the communities and toxic also is limited to certain style of games. I'll be honest with you. You go into one world and you'll meet some of those toxic people. I find that most of the games where the community is good, like a good community, are the ones that are intelligent. Games that require you to think. Bullies don't like these types of games.
Right.
So that's why certain types of games gravitate towards certain types of people.
So
like,
I
think that's really interesting, in my opinion.
I'll agree partially. I think the bullying is different. If you're jumping into League of Legends,
you're gonna get shitted on.
Yeah.
But if you're new in Magic, the people will actually help you. Yeah. From my experience in Final Fantasy 14, my company, they've been nothing but helpful. The reason I continue to play the game is because of the company.
And I think a lot. It's not really a huge. So every community has their bullies, but every community has their good people. Like with Magic, with League of Legends, even with as toxic as freestyle street basketball can be, you can find some good people playing freestyle street basketball and have a great time and just sit there and people try and teach you. I mean, even with noobs coming into League of Legends,
most of the toxic games have a lower player base, like age-wise. All the toxicity comes from like a middle school to high school range. So I get to how many times they want to fuck my mother, Jesus.
So it's just a matter of the toxicity is there. The code of conduct, which Nivix is talking about, it's great to deal with communities. But the thing is, within every gaming community, there are communities, so it separates itself out. So you can find groups in League of Legends that are phenomenal and great to work with.
Yeah, the higher ELO teams, people that are actually smart and actually work together.
You can find some that are just real hard.
It's intelligence,
and so it's just a matter of you got to find that group. You really have to find.
Okay, don't mind me, and I don't look. Frankly, I don't mind sounding stupid because generally I'm going to learn, and generally I kind of am a little bit slow.
That's fine.
Okay, but do you guys have like if I come into a brand new game, is there any kind of like warning that tells me what kind that I'm in a place that is more toxic than another? I mean, kind of like ratings on movies. Is there anything like that?
No, I mean basically once it's similar to life, but
the board game.
No, actual real life.
Oh,
it's just more.
Well, there's no
more exaggerated because you have the keyboard warriors. You have the anonymity factor that you're going to have to run up against. It's like a Facebook wall or Facebook or any forum out there that says something controversial. You can find somebody who you can agree with and have a discussion with. You can find somebody you disagree with and have a discussion with. But a lot of the people that you're going to run across are going to be people that are going to be super extreme and yelling at you because you said something that they don't like. And that happens on every
love
Facebook wall.
to have a voice on behind a keyboard. They love to say whatever they said because a lot of people are insecure on the internet and online and playing these games, and a lot of times they lash out. If you meet half these people they're face to face, they wouldn't peep a word behind a keyboard, and that gives a lot of people power. But as technology gets further and further, we are now getting held accountable for the things we say online. It's changing.
And so and to tag on to that, Disney, I think it was Disney that did, and I think I'd mentioned it before, that Disney did a, yes, Nivik, it's not just on the internet. Completely agree.
Oh, yeah.
But there was Disney, I think it was, that did it was a kids thing, but it was talking about how you had two separate groups. They did this, it was a simple study. You had two separate groups. At one point, they had one group, they were talking just really nasty and how they hate. No, it was probably MTV Decoded. But they were talking really nasty about, and this was all behind the scenes. Nobody knew about it. Nobody heard anybody else saying all this bad stuff about the people that they did not like on the other side. Right. Just went at them. But then they put them face to face and said, okay, and can you please say what you said behind the scenes? They couldn't say it because there's a complete difference in seeing somebody's face and saying it. So that's where gaming and everything else it's exacerbated online because you have that anonymity and that protection of, hey, they won't know what I say. But yeah, I mean, it's true. It's not just online.
Hey, Josh and definitely John and Jatovi, you actually mentioned earlier, and I think Nivix did as well, this code of conduct. If you are somebody that is not as active in the gaming world, like I said, I love this show and definitely am learning more and more about the games and have over the last year and everything. And I would definitely put myself in that same category as Bill. But where would a pedestrian, for lack of a better term, find these code of conducts if they were wanting to know if the game has one, and also if they wanted to report something, it was within that code of conduct and everything? And do all games have a code of conduct?
No, not all games. Some games you have no way to report people, and in some games there's no reason to report people. Single player experiences, that's all you. You report yourself. I was mean to myself on chapter 3. So no, but. It's all about what kind of game you play, like that Humankind game, Mark. There's probably no reason to report people on that because most people that are going to play that need to be smart. Right. So. Well,
not only that, but I think mainly there's, to touch on to that, yes, mini games, some games have it, some games don't. But
multiplayer games usually have a code of conduct.
Yeah, what you're looking for is the community that you're going to bond with. And that community that you're going to bond with are the other people that play the game. So luckily, you have the different forums that you can join, from Reddits to Facebooks and stuff like that. You can begin to weed and find out, okay, well, I can get to this developer, or I can get to that developer, or I can talk to this community.
There's a lot of information out there now.
Yes.
If you're trying to find a game home, is that what you're essentially asking, Mark? If you were able to go find a game that you could essentially enjoy without worrying about getting bullied? Is that what, like a place or like a website?
Yeah, either a safe place, if that's the term that people like to use.
There's probably forums out there, you know. You probably go into Google and be like, I am from the age of 40 to 100, and I want to play a game and not have someone treat me like an asshole. And they'll probably pull up some, Google works like that for me anyways.
That's where those Discord servers and the Discord servers are huge for that. So you can jump on a good Discord server, like the one that John runs, the ones that I have with Bull City Gaming and stuff like that. I try and monitor the community to make sure that, one, nobody's spamming. Two, everybody understands that this is a community. We're working together to. I mean, if I have a tournament, I have rules. You guys to jump on tournament. If you have a tournament, let me know. I'll let everybody else here know. We're trying to. It's all about working together to
finding your niche.
Gotcha.
But that's what you find in terms of finding your. I think that's what you're looking for in terms of finding a home. And different games have those Discord servers that you can jump on, find different people, and jump into their communities. But that's just basically what it is. Is you've got to jump in a game that you love, and if you want to learn more, try and find communities and people that you can jump in and join with, because you're going to come across some buttholes.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's across the board. I mean, I'm sure even Bill runs across that as well, because one of the things that I think we've seen, and I'm actually going to toss it back to
You
Bill.
probably can run across
is
assholes in book clubs.
No, because I think that we've even found the gamifying of politics, and I would love to hear Bill's thoughts about this, because I think that the political game has become very gamified. But I'd love to hear whether Bill agrees with me, because it definitely has some of that gaming element now, even more so than I think maybe back in the historical era of Burr and Hamilton, even though they were definitely probably had some gamifying as well.
Yeah, Mark, actually, that's funny. Burr and Hamilton. Remember, they used guns. But,
Right.
I can't tell you that. Listen, a couple things. Mark, you're absolutely right. I mean, as a matter of course, the gaming experience, because the generation's coming up. I mean, I've never gamed, but, colleagues of mine who are out there who are younger, who came up as gamers, yeah, they're bringing those same tenets out. And, I don't necessarily see it as changing politics as something is that big. I was rather going to say this, but first, Mark, you are absolutely right on that point with that observation. But I was going to say this really to the audience out there, that at least on this point of how you go about building a community and how you guys are going about thinking about it, you know what I know? You guys are building a skill set that's going to work in the workforce in the upcoming community. Because when the entertainment industry starts trying to get into these multi people kinds of experiences and platforms, they're not going to know the experts about how to build a community, when to see assholes, how to treat assholes, how to whether it's toxic or not. You know where they're going to go? Everybody that's watching this and everybody that has watched this has dealt with this, like you guys are the experts. And I'm telling you should slap consulting after your last name and start selling some stuff, as in, human community, development officer. Because essentially, you're going to be able to go in there and understand, and you'll be able to charge big bucks. Because, I mean, this stuff is coming fast. And one thing I did learn that I just want to add here is that.
By the way, Bill, on a quick side, so you can continue on that. The video that I'm showing right now is the one that we talked about earlier. This is Space Pirate, Space Pirate Trainer, where they're on a tennis court playing this game.
Okay. All right. I see what you're talking about. So the thing is that there's a real need, and it's an undefined, because we just don't even know where the jobs are going to be. And I'm telling you right now, that is a job area, and your people are at the front of the line on that one. People like me won't even know. I mean, I'm just learning about all this stuff, so I think that's a plus. I mean, the crossover of the skills that you guys are all developing, and I can tell you this, Jacoby. And John, I think you'll appreciate this funny. Jacoby sent me to Black Mirror, right? And so I watched Black Mirror. I mean, I did a Black Mirror-a-thon, last evening, and I just watched it. And I mean, each one got worse and worse and worse and fun. So this morning at about 3:25, when I was completely scared of the future of the internet and gaming and everything else, I thought to myself, well, there's got to be a nice game out there somewhere. So Jacoby, it didn't work. I'm not scared away. In fact, I'm interested. Now that I know for less than $400 I can get myself into a VR type situation, I'm like, game on. And I'm going to bring my little avatar and I'm going to mess around in the chat room. And John, if my avatar can actually move stuff, I'm going to throw food at you in the.
Sounds good.
It sounds like a battle.
Fight.
Food fight.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
It's got to
I'll
be a
show up
video
in my
game
birthday
about
suit.
food fights. We decided there was a video game about everything else. I'm sure there's got to be a video game about food fights.
Oh,
Yeah,
another game about
everything.
No mess to clean up. You just turn
Right.
on. You know,
There's got to be. Hey, Jacoby and John, a quick question for you. Everybody was talking about the wonders of the video game industry, and I agree that it's the biggest industry out there and everything. Is there any concern? Because I was actually reading about this website called Video Game Layoffs and everything. Is there any concern about there being a bubble burst? Because we did know that the .coms were very big at one point, and then they had the great bubble burst. So is there any fear of that happening within the video game industry, or is this an industry that's here to stay, won't have a burst, won't have anything of that nature? I know that companies will definitely burst because that's just the nature of business, and some of them succeed, some of them don't. And apparently there's a VFX artist, John Emerson, who's got this whole website about video game layoffs because he's keeping track of some of the things that have happened, like with Blizzard and other companies. So we do know that companies can crash, but do you think that there can be a burst in the industry?
No, I don't think it'll ever die. If anything, it'll evolve. There's too much data and there's too much implications out there. I think it's just too exciting of a world, right? It's exciting. If you think about like hooking the brain up to a computer, being able to surf the web instantly, just as a thought. I mean, it's awesome, scary and awesome. So
yeah, I mean, at some point it may burst, or there might be a pop or a small dip in it, but no, it's here to stay.
Video game ain't gonna go nowhere.
Right now, it's all about immersion. It's all about.
It's one of the only few escapes that people have right now to escape reality is video games.
Yeah,
and people use that.
And the technology behind it, just like I was telling you, Bill, that's why Black Mirror is so freaky, is because that is the technology that's where we're headed in a lot of ways.
Some of the other episodes on there, fuck with me. That one where the popularity thing and they had everything was about how they could.
That's already here.
Popularity app. That episode was like that one fucked with me hard.
I think it was either Japan or China that they're actually doing that. Your popularity or your
likes,
your niceness is how
God.
you're rated. And that is how you can get alone. So, that stuff is...
In a world where people are offended by things so easily, you could be like, hey, I don't like that sandwich. And they'd be like, you know what? Fuck you. Downvote. Motherfucker, I don't like turkey. What do you want me to do?
But it's crazy. But there are just so many things. Like if you think about all the eye implants, of being able to rewind and fast forward to see what you just did or what you just said.
Actually, listen, because that was another episode on Black Mirror that was crazy.
Oh, yeah, where you can rewind his eye and he watched his wife
having the
oh, dude.
Wasn't that
raging? I was angry watching that episode.
Yep.
I mean, it was crazy. So, Jacoby, you said to me, eye implants is the place to go. And I was like, that'd be kind of cool, I can just walk around. And then I saw Black Mirror and eye implants and and I was like, I don't know about because it just warps your mind, But yeah.
Yep. And there's that one there. I don't know. Did you get through all of the episodes?
I got all the way to season 3. And then I realized that there was season 4 and 5.
So.
And then he realized it was 4 a.m. He's like, I got to go to bed.
Well,
and then there's another episode in there, the prison episode. The sad part about the prison episode is that, honestly, people today would actually do that, would torture somebody that way. And that is freaky too, because that is all built on, again, not only the eye implants, but also the ability to mess with the brain and manipulate what the brain sees and understands. And stuff like that. John, I wish your wife were here right now so we could talk about that.
She just said she's coming.
Awesome.
Yeah, 3 minutes ago. I knew that was part of what we were looking for, but we got Billy instead, so hopefully she'll pop in and everything.
Oh, no, this is fantastic. Bill probably like to talk to her about some of it, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And some great conversation. Hey,
my wife's in the medical field.
This is actually all three of y'all and everything. One of the things that I've heard people being concerned about and is, for lack of a better term, it would be kind of the phone system of video games and the video game industry and everything. Because I have heard people being concerned that there may be lower pay in other places in other parts of the world, and that could create a problem in our U.S. and Western video game industry. So like I'm
going to step out for about 2 minutes, guys.
Off to Malaysia and places like that. That could also happen with the video game industry, because a lot of times one, cost of living is cheaper, but also their pay is a lot cheaper as well. So is that a concern that you're hearing about people in the video game industry, that we could have that kind of remote work that's coming from other parts of the world, like India and like Brazil and like places like that, because they're not necessarily asking for the same benefits or the same pay scales?
That's, again, all this stuff is happening already. You can go online and you can actually, I think it was Ankit. By the way, Bill, this is right here is VR chat, where you create your world and you have people come and visit.
Oh, okay.
So what you see is what the other person sees.
Okay.
This guy here has created the world. We don't want to do that, but you see he's interacting with the sled, and that's individual stuck on the sled. But yes, this is what you do. He just threw that person. They're way in the air. So yeah, you can do whatever you want to in the VR world, and people use this for meeting rooms and everything else. So yes, this is what VR chat is.
Cool.
But yes, Mark, what you were talking about is already happening. You can literally go online, hire somebody to do graphics for you. They can be anywhere in the world. You can hire somebody to program, just as Ankit was talking about. He can go online to different individuals to program an app that he wants to, and that all that is happening. In terms of being paid cheap and all the other stuff, that's a battle that Blizzard, Riot Games, I mean, all these other companies, these big companies are going through. All these things are happening. It's just that people are now, the people not in the gaming world are now turning to see that the gaming world is something for real. There's money to be made.
Yeah.
People are being paid underpaid for their job. They're working ungodly amount of hours and being paid. Say for example, if you're being paid $100,000, in the layman's eyes, that's being paid a lot of money. But if you're working 80 to 100 hours a week on top of that and not getting any extra pay or anything, any extra bonuses, that $100,000 is actually not that much. You're basically making minimum wage.
Right.
So that happens in the gaming industry. You're having to work these 24-hour days. The streamers, the big time streamers, some of them are getting paid tons and tons of money, but some of them are like the guy who just had, in the middle of his 24-hour stream, had to go to the hospital because, again, you're overworking your body. A lot of this stuff, people are now waking up to understand that, yes, those that make it big, like, I would love to make it big, but making it big is a lot of time that I may not be able to have.
Right.
But again, Pokemon, one of the biggest streamers out there, had to cut back on it because, again, it's a lot of stress, that mental stress, because people aren't realizing that the money that she's being paid, you're basically in her life for more than her boyfriend that's there, or her husband.
So it's like TV, the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the Truman Show or the Truman Movie.
Right.
That's it. It's their life on camera, being criticized, critiqued, yelled at, being told, okay, show me your feet, show me your breasts, show me whatever you can, 24/7. It's draining. So
totally draining.
People forget these are real people.
You were talking about Activision earlier. I didn't realize until earlier today that Activision is actually owned by, or was owned by, Kurt Schilling, who was that famous Boston Red Sox pitcher. So I didn't realize that was actually his organization. So even the baseball players were getting into video games as well because.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh my gosh!
I came back at the right time.
But this is VR chat. I don't know if you saw it, John. This is what VR chat is.
That is funny. I've been watching it. That is just, So
yeah.
with the VR chat, you just you pick your avatar from what? From free.
Big Papa Jake. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you create your avatar however you want it to look. Because you see, these guys have made these characters. The other guy who we're following around evidently has a friend with him who's like Superman, right there. You got somebody who's like a praying mantis. So yeah, I mean, you create your avatar, you place in the world.
Like for me, it's a pedestrian. I come into this little group, so I go there and I figure out how and I arrive. Do I get like a menu and I start selecting a menu? Is that what I do? Okay.
That's kind of cool.
So yeah, you create your avatar however you want.
Guys, this is my wife, Anna.
Hey, Anna.
That is Bill. Very nicely well dressed. Jacoby. You know Jacoby. And then there's Mark.
Yes,
that's the first time you guys have actually seen her in person.
We've heard your voice in the background sometimes, but we've not seen you in person and everything. But glad to see you here, and glad that you were able to join us. Definitely, John was like saying that we're going to get a big treat by seeing the better half and everything. So glad that we got to meet the better half and everything. So, and I think that you are also into the video game space as well. So
recently,
y'all meet through the video game space, or were you into video games before you knew John?
My little brothers played video games, but I was never really that into them, I would say, personally. He kind of got me into them.
You don't have to talk. The mic's actually right there.
I know.
I know, but they need to.
No, mind me, I did listen. I do it all the time, but you know.
I just want to point out, John might not live through the night.
I was thinking that.
I think Jacoby is correct. I contemplated it several times, and I could probably do it successfully.
But you did play, and when I met her, she owned an N64.
I did.
On her own accord, without anyone pressuring her.
I did.
So that was pretty cool brownie points.
Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, N64. Y'all remember when that came out?
Yeah.
Yep.
What is your video game of choice?
Oh, like now or a Nintendo 64?
Now and Nintendo 64.
Oh, now I am really into Final Fantasy. It's like my favorite game.
14.
Yep. That is definitely like my favorite game. I like all the different spells that I can cast.
Go ahead, Bill.
The abilities that I get.
No, I was going to ask, Hannah, what's Final Fantasy about?
How would I describe that?
It's a little bit on the lines of what Bill was talking about earlier. It's a world where instead of having her own avatar, she made a fantasy avatar.
Yes.
She chose a class that are half dragon, half human.
Okay.
She's chose a class called White Mage. In this game, you can choose different classes that have different roles and abilities. Her class is a healer.
Yes.
Medical field healer.
Okay.
I went with a tank and a DPS class. My main is a DPS class, so it means damage per second, which is all about just doing damage. But what's really cool about the game is you can play with a lot of people at once. And then you have that community aspect, which is by one of the things we really enjoy. Our company is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. They're very nice.
And which is basically our guild, is essentially what you could call it, Bill.
Okay. I'm following. I'm listening.
So she works all day, right?
By the way, John,
deals with real people in the world, comes home, logs into the game, and gets to go fight dragons.
John,
yes.
Because you brought yours on, I had to bring mine on, and she's also in the medical field too.
Oh, dope.
Hello.
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 Nice to see everyone.
What does she do?
I'm a nurse.
LPN?
No, RN.
Wonderful.
Yep.
That's what she's working towards.
Yep, I work with babies, the best population out there.
Yes, you do. I love babies.
I've told you, Toby, before. I don't know how you do that because not the babies themselves, but I do know that sometimes y'all have to deal with the little babies and the preemies, and I know that I would have a hard time doing that just because I've got friends of mine that have been preemies, and I know that can be very difficult when you're holding them and open to try to get them to guide it through life in order to become full adults. So, like I said, I admire what you do because I don't know that I would be able to handle it and everything.
Well, thank you. It definitely has its ups and downs, but at this point, I've been doing it for 20 years, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Right. You work with babies, you work with elderly.
Yep.
Listen,
and to be fair, though, I'm a nurse manager now, so for the last year, I actually don't have a lot to do with the actual babies, so Now I do the managing side of it, which is actually probably worse. I'd rather be with the babies.
Have they ever come back and said hello as adults?
Pardon me?
Have any of the children come back and said hello as adults?
Oh yes, all the time. Yeah,
That's
yes,
gotta be weird for you.
Yeah, we before COVID, we actually had yearly reunions.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
And they would all come back. Yes. One of my primaries that I had the first year of nursing, she came back and she was 14 at the time, and it was pretty rewarding to see how developed she was. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think she started off at maybe a pound, little bit over a pound, not much. She was tiny.
So little.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys that I admire a lot, he's actually on LinkedIn, is a guy named Brian Shulman, but he does a lot of shows on LinkedIn, but he was a Tourette's baby survivor. Okay. So he literally talks about being a preemie and actually what he went through, but now he's considered a LinkedIn influencer. So he's actually gone from being not even knowing he was going to survive when he was a baby to now being, once in his 40s and well into that whole LinkedIn influencing kind of position. And by the way, I've got great admiration also for people that do that management side, because I have a friend of mine out of Raleigh that used to do that for Duke. And you were right. That is hard because sometimes those nurses don't want to listen and they don't always want to go where you want them to go to. And sometimes they want to give you a hard time, because a friend of mine did that at Duke, I want to say 10 or 15 years ago, and we're still buddies. And I know that they are now out of that field, but they did it there on the Duke campus for a number of years. So
scheduling side of nursing.
Yeah, now you see, this is what I'm talking about. That I, I can say with complete confidence that the rest of the world's not getting about the gaming community. It is so dynamic. Most people think, because the stereotype really isn't, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, because I'm.
No, that's fine. I know the stereotype.
They always say, what? It's some guy in the basement of his mother's house.
Right? Yeah. And about 60% of them are.
Okay, well, see, I'm not going.
So I will say I actually work with nurses the game, and they know more about it than I don't. I'll be honest, I don't. This is all him. But I actually work with nurses that are very into it with their husbands, actually.
Yeah.
And you see, and that's the dynamic part of the community that I think the rest of the world's not getting, because I mean, it's all professions, all this other stuff, but all within this gaming industry. So it's not like
it's still companionship.
Yeah, because there's a support structure too. Go ahead, John. I'm listening.
Yeah, like this companionship, because we get to work together. Like recently, we started in the world of Final Fantasy. You can pick roles, so you could be a cook, you could be a botanist, you can be a carpenter. So recently, we started on the botany line. So we've gone out and harvested honey and maple together. And then next time we get on, we're going to go start cooking, so then we can apply all that honey and stuff to our cooking. And we get to work together, and it creates something for us exciting to talk about. And some people would find that weird, like, why don't you guys go play tennis or something? Well, we'll do that too, but we also like playing, on the game together. And people who say you can't have companionship online is wrong. I think you can have great friends and great companionship. And
okay, well, see, that leads me to this question. Okay, why? I mean, maybe we are. But introducing senior citizens who maybe are without family into gaming, because some of these some people that we consider senior citizens are old and docile. And
Anna would agree with this.
I mean, it seems that would be a natural fit. I mean, is that kind of stuff going on in the gaming world?
Toby, if I could toss it to you, have there been some efforts around like the video game community and even some of our senior citizen areas here in Durham? Because it seems to be that I remember there being some efforts to try to get some of the senior citizens involved in the video game play. And I want to say that Siren talked about it in some of the areas where she was at in Oklahoma, but maybe I'm mistaken in that regard. But hasn't there been some efforts in that effort to bring seniors into video game play?
If I remember in Durham, I think Patricia had talked about it. I think the Durham Skyrider did something about it, or talked to did a few interviews on somebody on that. But yeah, Siren talks about how that is going on, and I'm sure Anna might know because I think John, you had pointed out about the reality thing.
Yeah, the dementia experience that you go through. They put these goggles on her, and they put audio in to because Explain it to him, baby, because what dementia people experience.
Yeah, they did it in real life. So they put on some goggles and they made it really fuzzy to mimic some of the stuff that happens with your eyes, like glaucoma and stuff like that. And then they put stuff in your ears.
Earbuds, not stuff.
Mama,
Put
bye.
earbuds in your ear, and then they like a radio.
Okay, Mark.
And it's quite frustrating to walk around like that. And then they put these little prickly things in your shoes to signify, I'm gonna guess, neuropathy, which is like a loss of sensation in your feet. And you have to go around and try to finagle your way through the room like that. And it's
they ask you to do mundane tasks that everybody has to do on a day-to-day
your
basis.
regular, they're called ADLs, daily living stuff that you do. Dress, brush your teeth, what else do we do? Brush your hair, stuff like that. And it's just quite intriguing to watch yourself do that and go through that. It's really, for me, it was really mind-altering before I went onto the floor to really kind of understand what these people were going through and experiencing, because you could go up to some of them and they will jump because you just came at them. So you really got to be careful about how you approach people, especially with that. I mean, their hearing's probably messed up a little bit, or they can't hear you, and their vision's also messed up. And if they have dementia and Alzheimer's on top of that, that just makes it even worse, because most of the time they don't know where they're at, who you are, or why they're there, and they want to leave. And it's really heartbreaking to see that.
All right. It is a brave new world out there. I mean, I am amazed.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Hey, Amanda, is there a skill that you've learned from video game play that you find has really helped you with your nursing and with your other skills as well?
Critical thinking.
That is true. Critical thinking. That is very true. There's a game, this is not like a virtual reality game, but there's a game called Pandemic. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. I really enjoy playing it because I get to get out all the infectious
outside my
diseases.
door. Pandemic.
Oh, by the way, Bill, this is HoloLens. There's a video of the HoloLens stuff that I was telling you about where they spend a ton of money. But yeah, go on, Anna. The floor is yours.
I'm gonna look all this up.
He's laughing. I love it.
I do have to get going. I got to go grab some up. Listen, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Bill. Nice to meet you.
I mean, but at some point I'm gonna grab you guys and drag you guys, across the internet, so that you guys won't be hoarding all the talent over here on your show.
But see, Bill, you should like this though. This is HoloLens, like I said, about the hologram stuff.
I know, and listen, I'm gonna change my appearance. I'm gonna do all this other stuff. I won't have to be the man in the mirror, as Michael Jackson would say, and I'm just gonna go be a tank, and I'm gonna run over and destroy stuff.
Give yourself a 6-pack. I gotcha.
That's right, man. Everything I'm not. I'm a big truck, guns, gun rack, beer, kegs.
I am Bill, destroyer of worlds.
Well, apparently his football team might be still trying to destroy worlds. They almost made it to the Super Bowl last time, so hopefully they'll make it this time around.
No, Mark, that's a sensitive subject because Jacoby and I have a meeting this weekend.
Yep, we got a big meeting this weekend.
Yeah, so, and right now I can't say anything. And Jacoby will explain why after I leave. But go ahead.
I mean, since we're leading the division, I can talk about it. I mean, I'm not scared. My Dolphins are gonna beat the Bills this weekend.
All right, man. I mean, I can't.
He's ready to take him out. Well, I'm actually feeling good. My fantasy team won the first game, so I'm 1-0. So maybe I just need to stop the season right now.
Okay, well, see, this is where Jacoby and I should meet in one of those artificial rooms, and I can throw them around.
Hey, I'd win in there too because my Dolphins are gonna win this weekend. We're gonna take a big lead in the division.
You know what I'm gonna do, Jacoby? If the Dolphins win this weekend, then you let me know next week. I'm gonna show up and I am just gonna, kowtow and kiss your derriere.
Are you gonna kowtow and are you gonna wear a Dolphins shirt? That's what I want to know.
I don't have a Dolphin shirt, but if I did, I would. But I'll put on something teal. But fine.
Teal and orange.
And Jacoby, bad luck with this weekend, okay?
Oh,
Hey, John and his folks, they've got a tough game coming up as well because he's got Kansas City and they're playing the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh man.
Oh wow, I don't know. The Ravens are angry. They really blew that game with Las Vegas.
yeah, they did.
Yeah, but Kansas City, John. I mean, they just something else.
They're a good team right now.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, Mahomes, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, even when they're not playing well, they're playing well.
Yep.
And that's the scary part of them.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. They always got some major potential for sure.
I got Patrick Mahomes as my fantasy quarterback, so I'm good to go.
Yeah, you're real good to go. I got Tom Brady. That's why I won my first game.
Okay, well, people, listen, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, Bill.
Pleasure to meet you, John. Pleasure to meet you. Mark, as always, phenomenal. Jacoby will be around, okay?
All right. I'll see you, Bill.
All right. Okay?
Later.
Have a good one.
All right.
See, I'm already picturing Hannah like as this dragon because we talked about the dragons, and I'm thinking that she's actually spitting fire on you, John. So I'm thinking that she's actually like destroying you a lot in the games as this dragon figure. So am I correct? Is you like spitting a lot of fire on John and destroying him? Because that's what I'm picturing happening.
I mean, no, usually not so much because we have to work together, and he does help me. I get frustrated with him, but he does help me quite a bit. So,
but yeah, she would say games have really helped her with her critical thinking for sure.
That makes sense.
Critical thinking and on the spot thinking. I mean, when you deal with dementia and Alzheimer's, they'll be asking you. I remember this particular patient who would always ask me where her car is. You have to think of something very quick. Oh, so-and-so took it to the shop. So unfortunately, you're going to have to stay here with me tonight. Of course, obviously, sometimes that doesn't go so well, and sometimes it does. It just kind of depends on the day. But yeah, on the spot thinking for sure, and critical thinking.
Be creative, absolutely. She was playing this game called Pandemic. You can talk about it, baby.
Oh yeah, Pandemic's just kind of a fun game to play because you got to prioritize your diseases and the outbreaks that are going on around the world, and send out your little people and get those cured and treated, and it's a lot of fun. I've lost a lot in the past few games I've done, but I like it. It's a very intriguing game.
And you were talking about the retro games when y'all first met, and you said that you had some favorites in that area too. So what were they back in the retro era?
I would say Mario Kart and Super Mario, and what was it, Banjo-Kazooie, if I remember right.
Oh, yeah, classics.
Mm-hmm.
Really good games.
Absolutely.
He's out there. He's out there, Bennett.
Hey, Jacoby, it's interesting watching the contrast. Excuse me. It's interesting watching the contrast between you and your wife and John and his wife, because your wife made it very clear that she is leaving the video game space to you, and she's doing other things like working and taking care, along with you, the kids and everything. But she made it very clear that she is not engaging in the video game space, whereas Hannah and John look like they are more engaged together in the video game space. So it's just interesting watching that contrast, and I'm sure that happens in the video game world. There are some people that are doing it as couples, like apparently John and Hannah are, and there are others that are like, "No, I'm leaving that to you. That's your space."
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the way the industry is,
the way hobbies work, you know.
Yeah.
His wife might really like crocheting. I don't know. I'm just saying, and Jacoby doesn't. So you know, but she doesn't like every game I play.
Oh, absolutely not.
So there's
some of them
that
I
she
think
just
are very stupid.
Yeah.
So what's a stupid game for John?
He's out there.
What do I always bad money for?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to see if you actually remember.
Probably not, because there's only a very few. Like I like when he plays.
She don't hate him that
Magic.
bad.
I hope he plays Magic quite a bit.
She don't like games like Civilization and Humankind.
No, you gotta micromanage. Who the hell wants to do that in their free time? Who wants to do that in their free time?
In my real life.
They're really fun. Disgaea is great. It has some micromanaging.
That's turn-based tactics. I'm talking more like Civilization, where you just watch numbers go past on the screen.
Yeah, no,
she doesn't get that shit.
No.
But yeah, no. Disgaea she'd probably enjoy more than these. Yeah.
Yes. I would
She's
agree.
going like, I got to micromanage these folks at the place that I'm working at. I'm not trying to micromanage the work as well.
She does the scheduling.
You got it.
So micromanaging is like her thing. So.
But see, Tropico is fun. John doesn't like Tropico, I know.
You don't
And I like
that one?
Tropico.
I didn't remember you trying that one.
EVE Online spreadsheets in space. Yeah, right. I never played that game, but that makes sense. That's like playing the new Pathfinder. It's all numbers and rolling dice, but it's pretty fun. It's still fun.
Hey, it sounds like if I heard you correctly, that you're working with some people that have dementia and other things going on, Hannah. So are there any games that you encourage them to play, even if they're board games? Or are there any games that have them manage what they're doing that y'all at your workplace encourage people to be involved in? Because I've heard that there are even some board games that can help people deal with dementia and other things. So I was wondering if there are any
memory boosters.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Now, I will be honest with you. Our activities department that I used to work with is pretty awesome about that. They would come give them crosswords. They would take them in to do checkers and stuff like that. Now, video games, not so much because they have a hard time remembering. I mean, basically to do daily things. So it's kind of hard to have them do that. Now, they used to play Wii bowling and stuff like that. But that's about as far as they got with video games. Now, this generation, and you guys as well, even I could see that changing because we're so involved with computers and everything else. I could totally see us wanting to be in video games. I feel like when I get older, I will probably want to be in virtual reality because I might not like how I am right now, but I could sure as heck project myself into something else. And I think that is a really cool way to do that. I think that would be very helpful.
Just to point out, because I guess Nivik saw the games that were, just on a side note, I think Nivik saw the games that Epic released today. You talk about spreadsheets in space. Dear Lord, this Tharsis game, that's all it really looks like. You roll the dice and you really just fill out different blocks to do research. This I think is over the top.
I know people enjoy that, but I could not do that willingly on my free time.
So you're just rolling dice, so it's like a video game meets Yahtzee?
Exactly. So you roll the dice, you basically fill in where you want the dice to go, then you have to really micromanage everything else. You want the 6 to go over, Space D&D, So,
yes, John. John. I just dated myself by mentioning Yahtzee. So yes, I just dated myself.
But hey, guys, we're gonna say goodbye to Hannah because she needs to go eat her lunch and then she has to go back to work. She did this on her lunch break.
Yes.
So I am very happy she got to swing by. I love
it. It was a pleasure meeting you. Hopefully you'll pop by on some of these other shows, but you were an amazing guest and you put up with that man. I don't know how, but you put up with him, so that's a good thing.
I don't know either, but it happens.
You ask yourself that every day, huh?
She has to remind herself every day. She looks in the mirror and sighs and goes, one more day with him, one more day.
I suppose.
All right. Hannah, before you go though, Mighty Murr has said that Tharsis is good, so we have to try it.
Tharsis is good. Okay.
Cannibalism in space.
Oh my. Well.
So we got to try it now.
All right, guys, I'm going to step out for about 2 minutes, say goodbye to my woman, and I'll be right back.
All right. Sounds good.
That's love right there. But I guess since Murr said that we got to try Tharsis, I'm going to have to try it.
Yeah, we're going to try a game about cannibalism?
In space, yes. There's always cannibalism. But I do want to try Speed Brawl. That's one of the free games Epic is giving away today, too. It was supposed to come out in April, but they pushed it back because they were having technical issues. And so it didn't come out free in April, but now it's free. I don't know how good the game is. I'm hoping it's good. It actually looks kind of fun. But I'm going to have to load on Tharsis, too, because, like I said, the boss says that I got to play it, so I'm going to have to play it. But
they really get bored with their studies about video games because you know what else they came out with earlier today?
Or
a couple of days ago and everything. According to recent research, some game player bases swear significantly more than others. So here are the potentially profanity-inspiring titles. So they actually went by and saw which games had people swearing the most and all of that. So it did say that a lawsuit has been filed against Call of Duty, Warzone publisher Activision and Blizzard by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing. And that was all about that whole thing about discrimination. So I guess they're mentioning them. But it says swearing has always been an intrinsic part of playing video games, whether in excitement and all of that, in defeat, or in anger at a fellow player. How much swearing a player does or hear, however, can vary depending on the game they're playing with and with whom. A recent bit of research found which of today's most popular games are swear the most. So as one might expect, the research found several popular competitive video games home to the most swearing. So in competitive multiplayers, there is a much higher chance of dying in-game or making a costly mistake than in a lower stake game like, say, Stardew Valley. This is particularly true with Battle Royale style games where death can mean permanent elimination from a round. It also stands for reason that horror games or difficult games that cause intense frustrations can have high levels of cursing among their player base. So the article goes on, and among the games, they actually this is too crazy. They actually timed the expletive. So according to Buzz Bingo's data, Rainbow Six Siege players swore the most, cursing approximately 584 times per year. Broken down, that equates to roughly one expletive every 6.16 seconds. FIFA 21, which is all about soccer, that game of football and everything, that came in close second with 552 swears per hour, followed by Call of Duty Warzone with 484, which is probably why they mentioned the lawsuit and everything. Halo, the Master Chief Collection, came in at 436 expletives per hour. Grand Theft Auto 5, 428 expletives per hour. CSGO, 428. Fortnite, 408. Apex Legends, 396. Dark Souls 3, 384. Chivalry 2, 380. F1 2020, 356. Rocket League, only 340. League of Legends, a measly 276. Resident Evil Village 256, and Forza Horizon 4 224 expletives per hour. So they did nothing better than count people's expletives. And apparently, some of the games that you like, there's a whole lot of cursing going on as they're getting upset at the game. So did you add to those numbers when you were playing Rocket League or some of those other ones that I know that y'all have played along with John? Because I have heard y'all mention both Rocket League and Fortnite, and Grand Theft Auto 5. So definitely, I'm wondering, did you add to those amount of expletives per hour, Jacoby?
Well, I mean, not really. But I mean, I just don't understand the list. Like Dark Souls, I would see. Oh, there's a fish game that where you're trying to take. I think it's called Fish Out of Water. Mm-hmm. I can see other games, not the Call of Duties, and those are give me something like Hades. Oh, Hades is a phenomenal game, but you get frustrated when you get so far and then you end up dying off something cheap. That really gets you. Dark Souls, when you get trapped and you're stuck because you can't fight up, you think you have the abilities and attributes, and you forget that your character is slow and the other character hits hard, and you accidentally make a mistake and miss a dive. I mean, I don't know.
Well, like you said, you gotta love these folks when they study things, because they also study the streamers. So apparently there were some streamers that were more prone to swearing than others. Of those surveyed, Felix XQZ Lingel was the most profane streamer, cursing 308 times per hour, equating to one expletive every 12 seconds. He was followed by Edwin Castro 1021 Castro and Michael Shroud Gressiex, who swore 243 and 237 times per hour, respectively. Surprisingly, Felix PewDiePie Kegelberg, and I've actually heard of him, a YouTuber, swore the least of all the streamers surveyed, cursing only 48 times per hour. It's worth noting that the games having a high expletive count does not necessarily mean it causes people to swear more. Just as each streamer varied in the number of times they swore, so too do individual.
Oh yeah, I saw this
and
coming
different
out.
games
That's
also
kinda
attract
cool.
different audiences. So, what do you think? Did you add to that list as well, John? I saw that you're back, so I was given this list of the expletives, and apparently there were some games that were very popular in the expletive count. And Jacoby was saying he didn't quite get the list, but among the list was Rainbow Six Siege, Call of FIFA 21, Call of Duty Warzone, Halo, the Master Chief Collection, Grand Theft Auto 5, CSGO, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Dark Souls 3, Chivalry 2, FI 2020, Rocket League, League of Legends, Resident Evil Village, and Forza Horizon 4. But they went anywhere from 584 expletives per hour to a measly 224 expletives per hour. So they were monitoring and finding out how many people were cussing in their video games as they were getting frustrated. So I've actually seen you play some video games, and I've seen Jacoby because I sometimes
So basically these games have the most cursing.
I do know that you sometimes, both of you do add to that list because y'all will sometimes, let a certain
I very much probably added to the curse word list on the games. There's others too. Yeah, I curse at games, absolutely. Yeah, I let the person that can't hear me how much I hate them and despise their soul for missing the shot that I passed to them. I'm kidding.
No, I'm not.
Right. No, I'm not.
That was me, right?
Right.
Well, just to add to our conversation, just because this is fun, Buzz Bingo also found that PC gamers most likely to swear racking up 380 expletives per hour or one every 9.4 seconds, whereas Xbox players were middling with only 368 swears per hour, and PlayStation users came in at 332 per hour. Interestingly, the Nintendo Switch was not accounted for. While the argument can be made that the portable console is designed to be family-friendly, it still hosts several popular competitive games such as Super Smash Bros., Ultimate Mario Kart X Deluxe, and even multi-platform games, included in the data like Apex Legends. So apparently they missed a couple of things that they should have been putting in the expletive list. So yeah, I've heard people cussing at their computer, at their game consoles, even at their Wii, which I know your wife referenced earlier and everything. So I'm thinking, yes, you can definitely get a little upset and do a whole lot of cussing at the screen.
Oh yeah, it can definitely happen. It definitely can get rage.
Matter of fact, I think I heard Jacoby cussing at you in one. Oh, wait a minute. That's the other thing we're supposed to do today. I guess we're going to put that off till next week. I just thought about that.
What?
We had mentioned last week that y'all were going to tackle each other in a game of basketball.
Oh shit! Yeah, we'll try the schedule out for next week, and I think I'm about to hop out of here. It's about 10 minutes till.
Yeah,
a little early here.
John, you gotta get this.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. It reminds me of Brawlhalla. Have you played Brawlhalla?
Yeah, I got Brawlhalla. I mean, it all it is you're just running across from start to finish, and you just finish.
It's a fight game. Dope. All right.
Battle 3?
Right, mighty mobile typing, man. I honestly sometimes miss T9 texting because it was just so simpler. I used to have that shit memorized. Now I got to look at the screen. But all right, guys, y'all have a good one. I had a great day. Thank y'all for letting my wife hang out.
Yeah, we'll go ahead.
Jazz.
What we'll do is we'll probably end up closing up the show. I see Murr letting us know that the Switch players need to get on it in terms of saying some bad words.
Right. It's just the younger player base.
Oh, that doesn't mean anything, John. You know what they say in Rocket.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying in general. In general, Switch has a younger player base. But all right, guys, y'all have a good one. Mark, Toby, you guys are awesome.
All right,
You're
yeah,
awesome.
great day. We'll do some Valheim stream later too.
We'll plan on it. Sounds good.
And Murr, you got to come play Valheim with us. Yeah, you got to play with us. That'd be great. Get a whole Valheim crew.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Later. Have a good one.
All right, John.
Later.
It was fun having Bill on. It'd been a minute since I'd seen him, so it was fun having him back on and talk about things. And I had actually been meaning to reach out to him anyway because I was curious. I figured he knew the governor of Buffalo, being a Buffalo person himself and everything. And of course, now y'all can battle Buffalo against Miami. And I'm trying to go 2-0 in my fantasy. My teams that I root for were 1-1. So the Vikings went down and the Panthers won. So like I said, hopefully my Vikings can bounce back and maybe the Panthers can get 2 wins, and hopefully I can get 2 wins in fantasy, because that would be amazing. I did pick that one player, and yes, he has been traded already, because I was like, that was that one I told you that I picked that I don't know why I picked him. So he's gone now. So I got a better player to replace him. But even that player is 4th or 5th on the depth chart. But at least I'm not having somebody that was ranked 2000s, if there is such a thing as 2000s. So
Yeah.
I got a better player. And like I was saying earlier, I'm still doing those puppet rehearsals, so I got to get you to pop on and hear me attempt to be the voice of Echo, because I can invite people into the clubhouse and they can give constructive criticism, not just to me, but to other folks as well. And like I told you, there's some folks in there that are actually part of what we talk about, which is the inclusion, because they've actually named some of the members. I think the inclusion tribe, or the inclusion, somehow inclusion is mentioned in the title, because there are people as part of that puppet group that are suffering from various different abilities. Because I know there's somebody in there that is a gunshot survivor. I think there's somebody in there that is blind. I believe there's somebody in there that is living with AIDS, and there are a number of other folks that are different abilities. So we actually have some folks that are, considered mainstream, but there are also folks in the Funky Eye Puppets that are not mainstream either in terms of their health challenges. So that's one of the things that he's trying to do, which is something that you try to do here in this game space, which is celebrate and deal with inclusion. So IPC was very deliberate about trying to have inclusion within what he was doing as well. And like I said, he is part of the George Lucas family tree. So I'm still trying to get him to come in here, or at least some of the team, because like I said, I know he's part of the tree, and I think there's others that are part of the animation video game tree as well. So they might have some interesting thoughts about the whole entertainment industry as well as gaming in particular. So I have met some people in Clubhouse that are in the gaming space, and I'm still reaching out to them. And of course, even some of those people that I mentioned on this show, like the person that did the dreads and a couple of the other folks, I will be reaching out to them on Twitter and LinkedIn. And who knows, maybe they'll pop in next week or the week after.
Yeah, we'll try and do that. But we gotta head out now, because now I gotta swap out, and we're gonna everybody go over to the Mighty Murr stream today at 2:00, because since we leave here, we'll go check out Murr.
Go check out that. That should be great and everything. And I still got it. Do I still have another week to go to a Bulls game? Because I haven't been to one this year. Or am I out of luck this year?
Oh, only 5 more games left.
At home, right?
Yep, only 5 more games. So,
but are they all this week, or are they this week going into next week?
No, next week.
They're all next week.
Yep, next week.
I will try to make it to one of those, because I like to say that I made it to at least a game a season. I haven't been to one this year, so I'm gonna try to make it to a Bulls game next week. So I'll look at the schedule and look at my schedule and try to figure out when I'll make it to one.
All right,
cool.
That'll work. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and log out of here, and we'll head over to Murr.
Sounds like a plan.
Even though we're supposed to be doing lunch one of these days, so Murr, we got to set that up. One of these days we got to do lunch. But we'll go ahead and end out of here. Go ahead and do the closing scene. We'll talk to you guys next week. Same time.
Sounds like a plan. Same bat channel, same bat time.
That's right. Nivix. I'll keep you posted. Because we gotta do lunch. Big time lunch. All right, everybody. See you next week. I just turned off the background and we sat there smiling. That was pretty funny.
Being able to represent yourself as who you are helps others to speak for themselves.
I'll say, as I know right now, the Star Trek and Marvel universe are connected, but there is the multiverse, so you never know.
Who's her? You know her. Don't pretend you don't.
I I know her. I've known her my whole life, literally. So,
Are you going to toss it off to me again?
I mean, no. I'm tossing it to Janora. Janora is going to have to introduce herself.
Ladies' Day.
Yes.
Wait.
I don't think there's a video game that simulates what it's like to have a family.
Definitely simulation game.
Are you kidding? I get left burned on fire. My mom leaves the stove on. That ain't a family. My house burns down half the time.
That's exactly what that's supposed to be.